What's up, everybody? My name is Phil McNevin. I'm the head of community over here at Defiance Game Studios, and today we are going to play some Archmage Rises. It's the new game that we released on Steam Early Access earlier this week. Thank you so much, all of you who have been supporting the game. We just really appreciate the number of you who have picked it up and have given us lots and lots of very valuable feedback on what's working, what's not working, all that kind of stuff. I do want to, emphasize this is early access. It is not the full game as it's meant to be in the 1.0 launch. So there are features of this that are in the full game that are currently missing or just not released yet. There's a lot that we've actually developed, but it's just turned off because it's not quite at that stage that we want players interacting with it. So we got to put a little bit more polish on it and release it out. There is a whole roadmap that we have that you can check out in the link below. It walks through all of the features that are still to come for this game, and kind of the rough, sequencing of events when all these things are going to be added to the game. No timeline. We are hoping to get these updates out as fast as possible. We're very committed to this. We've got a whole team of developers. There's about 10, 11 of us. I think there's 11 of us now working on this game. And so hopefully you will see these come out with regularity. But that being said, let's jump into the game, walk through the character creation process, some of the early tips in getting started so that you don't get killed too quickly in the game, and then we'll walk through going through dungeons and all that kind of stuff. So here's the game. I am playing on the Steam Deck, so if any of you had that question, the game does play on a Steam Deck. It works quite well actually on a Steam Deck. So we'll get into it and get playing. So on the title screen here, you can see you can continue your last save game. You can start a new game or load a previously saved game, as well as settings, report bug, etc. All right, so let's go in and jump into new game. All right, the very first thing you're going to see is the world selection screen. These are all the worlds that you've created in the past that you can jump into with a new character. So that's what we're going to do right now. You can see I've got 2 worlds created already, but I do want to show you, for those of you who are new, what the creation process is like. So we're going to create a new world. This one's called Erlun. Let's go with that. You can change it. You can either click this button to randomize the world or click on the field and edit and call it something different. But for right now, we'll leave that as it is, and we'll click on Generate World. You did see that there are 2 grayed out drop downs. We are going to add extra options to these. Changing it from continents to islands, or you could do a larger world or a smaller world, all that kind of stuff. So there will be more customizability in the world generation process. So as you're watching the screen, you can see we're generating all of the history, all of the events that have happened. This is also the time that monsters that are evolving in the game, and there are heroes, all of the lore that you're going to experience, whether it's picking up a book or talking to NPCs, they're going to reference some of these events, some of this history, and some of that will come into play later on in the development cycle when we've got things like kingdoms and nobility houses and clans and all that kind of stuff. You'll be able to see all the lore and the depth that goes into this stuff. All right, so we've got our unique history generated. We've got unique towns, people, layers, artifacts, all that kind of stuff. So let's jump into this game. We'll click continue. All right, we've got our new place called Hessestal, and let's jump in. Now, as this is loading, you're going to start when you have a brand new game in the character creation process. So you can kind of think of this, if you're a D&D player or Pathfinder player, as almost like a session 0. So this is the part where you're going to be crafting the character and figuring out how they got into this particular part of the world. It goes through a whole storyline of you growing up in a school and all that kind of stuff. So we'll walk through that. But the very first thing you're going to see is this kind of like a brief glimpse of the state of the world. So this is a little bit of the history, some of the powerful people that you might run into, the different houses, noble houses, clans, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, let's continue on here. All right, very first day, we are born. So a warm darkness surrounds you. Suddenly, the walls begin to close in. You are being pressed from all sides. Just before it seems like the weight of the world will crush you, it relents. You twist away, seeking peace. It returns. You wriggle and writhe as this irresistible force thrusts you from your sanctuary. Then a deluge of sound crashes over you. Light floods your eyes. The midwife joyfully announces, "It's a sickly baby boy." All right, we're going to be, I don't know why this name is stuck in my head right now, but we're going to be a sickly baby boy named Thor. So let's add Thor's name here. Close that out. Click continue. The midwife proclaims it's a sickly baby boy named Thor. All right, so now we get to choose some skills that we start off with, and that will be based on who you spend your time with as a kid. Do you spend your time with the ranger, the bard, the tailor, or various random village children? So each one of these are kind of themed, so you can see if I choose the ranger, I get survival and athletics bonuses. Conversation interests include nature, hunting, fishing, riding, not so much astronomy or politics, and each one's going to be a little different. The village children will give you +3 to 3 random skills, as well as 4 random interests. I find survival is something that's really important at this part of the game. You use survival a lot for tracking monsters to lairs and whatnot, so this personally is one of my favorite ones to go with, but you could choose any of the others. Now you'll also notice, my tongue was getting a little twisted there, it still is, that these are actually randomized. So the next time you play through, the ranger might not be available, you might have a scholar, you might have a tailor, a craftsman, all that kind of stuff. So we have the tailor right here, but these are going to change as you go through different playthroughs. So let's go with the ranger. I'm going to choose learn a hand. Okay. So now we get to choose which mage that we want to study under. So there's different elements of magic here that we could choose. These names are procedurally generated, so you're going to see different mage tutors' names each time that you play. Depending on which one you choose, we gain XP in that particular element of magic. That XP can then be used during research to then buy new spells. So if I choose Storm, I'll get 500 XP in Storm Magic, Fire, 500 XP in Fire Magic, etc., etc. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with, let's go with Fire Magic. All right, so now it's going to tell us a story. Like I mentioned, it's kind of like that session 0. This is the DM telling us what's happening, and we get to choose what we do and how it affects our character, both through what skills we learn and start out with as our character, but also the relationships that are being affected. So as we start up, we're going to be going to school with 3 different students, and each of those students have individual relationships with us. So the decisions that we make will not only give us skills, but it's also going to affect their particular relationship with us. All of these situations are actually going to be randomized as well. So it's going to be different each playthrough. And as we go through development, we're going to be adding more situations so that this seems even more randomized and unique every time. All right, so we've got 3 students that we're going to be studying with: Rohisia, Wyman, and Isolt. So these are my companions for the year ahead as well as the coming years. Then we have a big, huge beast who's on a cart. and it's barreling down the street at me and my companions. What do we decide to do? Do we push Wyman out of the way, get some crafting, try to stop the cart, get some ice shield, and shoot the Yurok and get 500 XP in storm magic? Shields are really important in this game. As a mage, you're not that tough, you don't have a whole lot of XP, and you're pretty squishy. So having a shield whenever you play is incredibly important. We don't have one at the moment, so we are going to pick up this ice shield. And plus, it's a good thing to try to stop the cart. So we managed to stop it. Rohija is touched. We got a little more bonus points with Rohija. That we managed to resolve the situation without harming the beast, which, truth be told, just seems as scared as any of you. Wyman, however, seems nettled by the adulation received for your heroism. So if we go over here to our relationships, we can actually open it up and see where we're sitting with everybody. So Wyman kind of approves of us at the moment. Rohija approves of us. Isolt is kind of cautious with us at the moment. So we can monitor that as we go through our class. Okay, so we were in a boring class. We weren't paying attention. Do we ask the teacher to start over again, get some perception, learn the light spell by asking Isolt for help, or ask for clarification after class and get 500 XP magic? Let's go with the light spell. The light spell is really nice because you can use it to light up places where you can't see, like in dungeons, etc. You can also use torches, but it's kind of nice to have that light spell. Mere days before our final 9-point oath and joining the conclave as an apprentice mage, the chapter house informs you that due to circumstances outside of his control, you've been unjustly expelled. A detailed explanation is not forthcoming, but as best as you can ascertain, you simply made the wrong enemies while at school, and one of them has filled the ear of your teacher with tales of your transgressions. What do you take with you as you prepare to depart? We can get an axe, a pickaxe, a sword, camping gear, trail rations, and 240 gold, and etc., etc. I think I'm going to go with the sword. All right. And now we have the game. So now you're going to start off in this small town. You can enter the town, find some quests. You can go to the shops, get some gear. You can just wander off if you want. But the very first thing that I highly recommend that you do when you start and have been let go into the world is to go and pick up some new spells. Use all that fine XP that you just gained in school to pick some spells that you want to know and carry with you throughout your journey. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the character sheet. We're going to go up here to research, and we're going to learn some spells. Once you get into combat, it becomes a lot about managing your resources that you have to make sure that you're as effective as you can be in fighting enemies, because some of them can be quite dangerous, and like I mentioned, you're fairly squishy as a mage, especially starting off. So let's look at some of these spells. So we've got Arcane Insight. I've got 500 XP to spend here, 500 on fire, 500 on ice, and nothing in the others. So, oh wait, actually I have 1,000 in ice. So let's buy a couple of, let's pick up Arcane Shield. We'll pick up Magic Missile, 200. We got 200 left. Let's do Daggerfall. As you can see, I've already almost doubled the number of spells that I have with some more spells here that I can use in combat. Oh, first, relationships. Let's check our relationships with the NPCs. So I made a friend out of Rohija. Wyman's kind of cautious, and Isolt does not like me. She just disapproves of me. We're going to head into town. Towns with gates, you can only enter them during the day. by paying the gate fee. You can sneak into towns. If they're just in an open field, then you're able to come and go as you please. Now, all of these stores, they close at certain times, and then you won't be able to access them until the next day. You can pass time by clicking on the little hourglass right here. Wait for an hour, 5 hours, or wait for the next day, depending on what you're trying to do. Nice thing to do is go to the outfitter, pick up a couple of things. So once you get into an NPC conversation here, you've got a couple of conversation starters you can do. You can chat, you can insult them, you can flatter them. Each one will affect the relationship a little bit differently. Flatter is something that you have to make a skill check for, just like you would in D&D. So if I wanted to flatter this person, you'll see the dice come out. Difficulty was 3. I passed it with 11. It was successful, so I was able to flatter them. I can then also compliment. These things will change as you get more and more into your relationship. You'll be able to give them gifts, all that kind of stuff as you become closer with people. You can see their relationship bar here grows, as well as it shows their current status towards you. So right now, he's kind of warm toward me, but relationship-wise, in the bigger picture, he's kind of indifferent. We're not friends quite yet. We've got this quest, so there's a little icon here that notifies me that this is a quest. So if I click on this, this will give me a quest. So if you've got time, I could really use another load of wood. How does 5 logs sound? That should keep me for a while. I can do that. Many thanks. All right, we need to explore for some woods, which I'll show you afterwards. We can also go into the services they offer. So we can buy, sell here at the outfitter. Let's just pick up a couple of torches, for example. Camps can be good to have 2, just in case you're running out of stamina from all the things you're doing. I think we have a pickaxe, which we can use to harvest some materials. But if we're looking for wood, I believe we need a hatchet. So let's go and pick up a hatchet. By the way, you can buy a towel for $42. Just saying. Okay. All right, let's pick up a hatchet. And you know what? We got some trail rations. Maybe we should pick those up just in case so that we don't get too hungry. Which on your character sheet, you'll be able to see all of your stats, your hunger stats. So right now I am stuffed. My well-being, I'm feeling pretty fine right now. My current skills, more details about my character, as well as what I'm reading. So if you can pick up books and have them as kind of a passive reading, so as you're walking around town or traveling the world map. You can also study books at the Conclave if we pick those up. All right, right now I have nothing in my hands for a weapon. It looks like I might be left-handed. So I'm going to equip a short sword, and I've got some armor already, which you'll be able to do to equip just by clicking on the part that you want to equip. We want to keep my cloth armor here. Go over to quests, and you can see what our current quest is. So here's the person who has given us the request. You can also see the description of what the quest is. We need to gather 5 wood and the time remaining. So sometimes they'll give you a time limit, like within the next 4 weeks, or deliver this letter by this date. So you'll be able to see how much time you have remaining. Luckily, we have no limit, so we can kind of do that one at our leisure. What many people don't realize is that, just like D&D, you can steal if you really wanted to. You could be a good mage, you could be a bad mage. If you wanted to steal, you can open up your inventory in any shop. Click on the little tab here. And this now shows the inventory that this outfitter has. And if I'm like, you know what? I really want to swipe a Thunderstone. I could just grab it, pull it into my inventory, and now I have the option of, do I want to steal or not? The difficulty setting here is 12. Should we do it? Why not? Ooh, natural 20. There we go. So my stealth skill has improved, and I succeeded. So I was able to actually pocket that Thunderstone If you get caught, your wanted level will go up, and there could be consequences. We're gonna play it safe and get out of here before he notices that I pocketed that Thunderstone. Another thing that you can do if you want to earn a little bit of extra cash is you can come in here and do some gambling. So I can come into the inn. If I scroll down right here, we can gamble. So let's play a game of dice. We can learn how to play. So basically how this game works is that you have to go as close to 20 as possible without going over. If you go over, you bust, similar to 21. If you are the closest, then you win, and so on and so forth. But we'll play at $10 per throw, 10 coins per throw. So we'll roll 2 dice right off the bat. I rolled a 37 already. If I'm trying to get 60 math-wise, that means it's 23. So if I roll 2 dice, the chances of me hitting that is pretty high. So I'm gonna throw 1 dice. Let's see what happens. 12, I'm at 49. Okay. Wager 10 gold to throw 1 more. 7, 56. Mabel is standing at whatever she has. I'm likely to bust if I roll again, so I'm gonna stand at 56. All right, cool. I bet her score of 47, won myself some gold. The key to gambling is to know when to stop, so we are going to leave the table. Give her a little compliment. Maybe some flattery. Ooh, I did not do well. The difficulty was 17. I rolled an 8. And so my relationship with Mabel has actually taken a little bit of a dip. Now she's cautious. She was a lot more friendly to me before. Now she's cautious. She didn't like me flirting with her, apparently. So I'm going to leave for now. And we're going to get out of town. And I'll show you how to do some exploring. So now we're on the overworld map, and we can travel around and look for dungeons. We can run into monsters, random encounters. We can explore for resources. Right now I'm looking for some wood, so I'm going to travel over to here. I see some trees, so that is probably a good sign. There might be some wood here, so if you click on it again, it'll bring you right into the hex itself. And if I click explore, it's going to cost 8 hours and 20 stamina. So let's do that. All right. So we've explored 18% of this, and we've discovered it's a pasture and a grain field. Not quite what we're looking for, so we're going to leave. We'll hunt around a little bit more. Let's see. There's some trees here. Ooh, and we also spot some tracks. So let's do a little bit of hunting here, shall we? So we're going to go in here. First thing we want to do, well, we could do anything, but I'm going to do some exploring. All right, so again, we've got 18% of this place explored. I did not find any wood, but I did find some tracks here. If you mouse over the tracks, it will show you what the survival skill is. And right now it's a 15. I've got a +5 to my survival rolls, so I've got a pretty good chance of figuring out what these tracks are. So let's do a check. All right, I just made it with a 10. We succeeded. So we've got some goblin tracks that are leading off to the southwest direction. Now, that's going to leave us, if we want to go and follow them, which we are going to, we head southwest. If you missed it, if for some reason you weren't paying attention, we do have a little log here that you can click on, and you can see all of the things that you just did, as well as the messages. So many goblin tracks lead off to the southwest. Awesome. We'll click on that to close it again. I'm going to click on leave, and we're going to go to the southwest. You can see it showed how long that took for me to get there, 5 hours. And we're going to take a look through here. All right. Now, before we go, it's nighttime. So that means that if I try to search these tracks, I'm going to get a -4 to my survival roll. I'm just going to go and explore. I'm going to spend 8 hours to explore overnight to see what I can find, and then in the morning I'll go and check out these tracks when I don't have that negative modifier. So let's go do some exploring. All right, 20%. I got some marble slab. There we go. So I've got a pickaxe. So that means I can go here to harvest, and I can harvest this marble that requires a pickaxe. It's going to cost me 15 stamina and 8 hours. I still have, if you look over here in these orbs, the yellow one is stamina. You can also see the value here. So 40, I have plenty of stamina left to go and harvest this. So I'm going to harvest some marble. And all right, I've got it. It's gone. Resources do replenish over time. So eventually I can come back here and get some more. We've got these goblin tracks. So let's go roll, see if we can figure out where these lead. All right, 15 plus 17, it's a 22, success. All right, some dense goblin tracks lead off to the southwest. They can't be that far. That usually means that they're probably at the next tile. So let's leave and let's head into the, I believe it was southwest. Good thing we have a log here, so I'm gonna open that up. Southwest. All right, we're going up into the mountains. Spot some tracks. Cover of darkness. You know what, I'm gonna risk it this time. Oh, we actually were right on their lair, so it actually didn't take us that long to find it. So let's go, we could go into the dungeon, which we will do, but first I'm gonna leave. And you may have noticed here, after I left this tile, it actually shows a little resource icon, and that means that we've got that resource that'll notify you in which places that you found some resources. Ooh, we have an encounter right here. I could go there. Let's do some combat. All right, we see several goblins and spiders among the rocks. We could fight them. We could try to run, which would require a 6 roll, or I could try to stealth and see what happens. I'm gonna try to stealth. 15 is going to make the DC. So we avoided detection, so now I've got a choice of either following them to their lair or ambushing them. Now, I did find a goblin lair earlier, so that's probably where they're heading to, so I'm going to ambush them this time, which is going to give me a first round of surprise attacks. All right. We are now into combat. We've got a Moon Howler and a Ghost Creeper. Now, if you mouse over, you can see what their health is, any sort of armor that they might have, whether physical or magical. This spider has neither. This one has 40 magical, and he's kind of hidden behind a bush, which makes attacking him a little bit more difficult, but we can manage. You can oversee here, I've got 10 magical armor from my magic robes, as well as 10 physical armor. So this protects me from physical attacks and whatnot. This protects me from more magical effects that go beyond the piercing and bludgeoning type damage. We've got our health, which is 30 for 30, our stamina, and our well-being, which is currently at 50. The next bar over, we've got our what's called aura, which is kind of like our mana. So this is what we use to cast spells, as well as we've got action points. So each round you start with a certain amount of action points, a certain amount of aura, and then as you expend those go down. They limit the options that you have available because each spell will have its own unique aura and action point cost. But when your turn comes again in your next round, then a certain amount of that will get replenished, which you can use, and then you can bank whatever you don't use. So if I only use 2 action points and I regain 8, then the next round I'll have 10. As you progress in the game and you get higher levels, you'll be able to upgrade both the max amount of AP and aura that you have, as well as how much you recover in a round. So that's something that will be coming down the line. So like I mentioned, I'm pretty squishy. I do have some armor from my magic robes, but with 2 enemies here, even though they're not that strong. I'm gonna pop a shield anyway, so I have my choice between fire shield, ice shield, and arcane shield. So let's pop open the arcane shield. It's gonna tell me that it takes 2 action points and 2 aura in order to cast this, as well as how much shielding I get for each physical and magical. So I'm going to cast this on myself. That makes me feel a little bit safer here. And now I'm going to cast Fireball because it does this cross pattern. So I have a chance of hitting both the goblin and the spider. Now you do have to be warned, because of the way that this spell attacks, you have the chance of hitting yourself. So you're considered right in front of the enemies here, right in front of the battlefield. So if I were to take the fireball attack and I were to cast that right here, that fireball is actually going to hit me. So I want you to be warned about that before you actually cast the spell. Now what I'm going to do, this is going to be a little bit tricky because the spider is actually in the path of me casting on this bush. I thought maybe I could cast it on the bush and just hit these areas here, but the spider's actually blocking me. I don't want to take the damage from fire. So I could try an ice lance. It's going to do 7 to 3 physical damage, 3 AP cost, 2 aura. This one I can cast over here. And so I think that's what I'm going to do. All right. So we took care of that spider. Now we've got this little moon howler here that's kind of blocked. So what can we do here? Well, we could cast Ice Lance again. The other option is Daggerfall. This costs similar, 3 action points, 2 aura, which I have enough for. Deals 9 to 19 damage, so we have a bigger chance of taking him out in one hit. So I think I'll do that. I'll cast it. There he is. All right, he took some damage, but not enough. He took 19. He still has 11 health left. So do we have enough? We do have enough to do Daggerfall again. So let's cast this. Oh, I didn't quite take him out. I don't have enough aura and I don't have enough AP, but luckily I did ambush them. So I can pass my turn and I will get another round, another chance to strike. So I'm going to cast another Daggerfall. All right, took him out. Gained some gold. We are low on stamina. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pop open a tent. So we could go back to the inn. We could sleep at the inn and recover our stamina there, or we could pop open a campsite here, which we will do. The other thing that you could do as well is you can actually open up the ground in any spot that you're in, and you can leave things. If I wanted to, I could drop my caltrops and leave them here and pick them up later. I'm not going to do that at the moment. I want to keep those. So I'm going to pop open a tent. All right, we got a campsite. We'll have a little sleep. Okay, we recovered some stamina. I'm still pretty tired, pretty groggy from climbing all these mountains, so I'm going to sleep again. All right, we're almost at full. So let's break camp. Now, I got this really great question in Discord on what's the difference between sleeping at the inn, like going all the way back to the inn and sleeping, when the campsites can be cheaper and you can do them anywhere, and they seem a lot more effective. Well, the downside to camping is that you can actually be ambushed out in the wilderness, and that could be very detrimental. So even though they're super effective, I like having campsites. You can always have that risk of getting ambushed. Into the dungeon. All right, so now we're in our dungeon. We can click and move around and scan our area. It's all 3D. Everything's all procedurally generated. Right now, we only have one theme of dungeon, so all these dungeons are going to look similar. I mean, every dungeon is going to be different. Every time you enter the dungeon, it's going to be different. Or a new dungeon. The layouts will be different. Everything's procedurally generated. All of the items that you see, the monsters, everything's procedurally generated. But we only have currently one theme, but we will be working on this. It's on our roadmap to have, you know, spider lairs and wolves den and like all that type of stuff, and they're all going to look different. But as of right now, you're going to see them all looking semi-similar. To navigate around, you can see there's a staircase in front of me. Staircase always goes a level up, so because we're just at the entrance of the dungeon, this is going to take us out back to the world map. As you can notice, there's no doors here. But you see this little arrow here. So when you enter a dungeon, you will always be facing north. So if there is a door to the south, you will see this little arrow and you can click on that. You can also click on the map here, and that will bring up your map of the dungeon and you can see where you're at. You can also push the M key or the tab key, and that will bring up a map as well. So those are a couple options for bringing open your map. Me playing the Steam Deck, one of the things that I like to actually do is come into controller and controller settings, and then actually put a hot button that will trigger the map. So maybe it's something like, I don't know, let's do the L1 bumper. Change that to keyboard and let's map it to M. And we'll get out. That way if I push the bumper button, it will always bring up my map. And then I can click, like I mentioned, I'll click on the arrow here. All right, we can't see, so we need to either cast some light or we could pop a torch. It's going to cost me 5 stamina to cast this spell. There we go. And one thing that is coming, so as you increase in power with your spells, one thing that you'll be able to do, and it used to be in our demo, but we've changed it a little bit with our new combat, is that you can actually upcast or downcast. So you'll eventually be able to learn how to control the power levels of your spells. You can make an ice lance that's much stronger, or maybe one that's a little weaker depending on how much hit points they have left, and be able to kind of adjust the power levels of your spells at that point. All right, so we're in this room. We've got a couple of doors. As you mess around, you might find points of interest that you may want to investigate a little bit. So I'm just kind of searching around here. I don't see anything. So I can click on these doors, or you can navigate with the WASD keys. So I can just tap over. If you're on a Steam Deck, that means that you can actually navigate with the D-pad. So let's see. Don't see anything of any interest through the dungeon. All right, we got another goblin attack. Oh no, Warg Rider. All right, this guy is pretty intense. But I do have a little trick up my sleeve which can help ease the pain of this encounter. So I'm gonna pop up my shield. All right, now, because the Warg Rider actually takes up 2 spaces, like these guys can be pretty deadly, but you can use an area of effect spell to hit them twice. So I'm going to hit him with Daggerfall, and it's actually going to hit him twice. Alright, so I did 9 damage plus 9 damage. He still has quite a bit of his armor left over. Awesome. So we gained some experience because we were using a lot of arcane energies. We got 60 XP plus some coins. All right, we're in a nice big library. So let's, I'm sure we can find a book here somewhere. Maybe we'll find a book somewhere. I'm on my hunt for a book. Okay, I'm gonna study. Bound to find a book in a study. Still, it looks like I've read all these books. It's not the book I'm looking for. These aren't the books I'm looking for. Okay. Let's see if we can find our way back. Go deeper into their lair. Ooh, here we go. Finally something. Ooh, we found a dungeon map. Harkens back to the old Legend of Zelda days. We've got a couple more rooms left, but not much more to explore in this dungeon. Alright. We'll just take this portal and quick exit out of here. And I will have to find a book somewhere else. Alright, now we found a couple of books and we went back to town. It's gotten late, so it's the gate is closed. The gate is closed. So we can either wait till open or try to sneak in. Should we try sneaking in? We can go through the front gate with a skill check or a climbing check. We get a +4 to our roll because it's the cover of darkness. You know what? We're going to be good this time, and we're going to wait until open. Oops. Let's go back here. Wait until open. And we'll enter the proper way. All right, now we can go to the Conclave chapter. We can study one of our books. Ooh. Let's do that. Spells are always good. So we're going to pick the spell book we want to learn. We're going to hit accept. And it's going to take 17 days to complete this. So we're going to study that. All right, 17 days of our life has passed by. We've gained +3 to our scholarship. And we have ate some of our rations. And we've gained ice inspiration, so that means all of our spells are going to be buffed because we got that inspiration. Scholarship improved. The shop is closed. All right, the other way, like I had mentioned earlier, to study books is that you can actually go into your inventory, go to this currently reading. We're going to click on the plus button and choose our book. We want to learn about these goblins, so I'm going to select that. Click on escape or accept. Sorry, you can see my reading speed is I'm going to learn 8% per day on this particular book. If I close my character sheet and let's pass a little bit of time, let's wait. Ate some food. Wait another day. Ate some more food. I'm getting hungry. You can see the statuses here. I'm still buffed, and I also have the status of hungry. So that means that I'm going to get -5 to well-being over the next 24 hours. So I gotta get my food up. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to go to the inn. Let's check out the services you have. We got some nice meals, some long noodles, some porridge, some Gigi fruit pie. All these recipes I wrote myself. So if they're mouth-watering, I hope you enjoy them. Let's get some long noodles. That gives us +1 to our well-being and takes our hunger down. So let's do that. All right. So now we're no longer hungry. Our well-being has gone up a little bit, and we don't have to worry about losing well-being as we go along. So we're going to go back into our character sheet, and you can see that we have gained a percentage in our reading because we were passively reading. And so you can study in the conclave, but you can also add books here and study them passively as you walk along. Now, if I added more books, you'll see that my current reading speed will change and adjust per book, because if you're reading multiple books, then You're not going to go through them as fast. So let's say we are going to read this biography. Let's accept that. So now you can see my reading speed has gone down to 0.3%. I guess apparently the biography is a little dry read, so we're not going to get through that one as fast. If I remove it, it'll go back up to 0.8. You can go to any place and you can sell some items and whatnot. So we can go to the marketplace. The marketplace is usually the place you can find all sorts of goods, trade goods, armor, weapons, typically the stuff that the armorer or the outfitter or the weaponsmith don't want to dabble with. So you can usually find maybe cheaper stuff here. So we'll go and take a look at what they have to offer. So we got some ciders and whatnot, some paper, some textiles. You can see how much they're offering compared to other places. So they're paying a little bit more. The prices are a little bit higher for these goods versus this one. You can buy it cheaper here. Let's see, we got some sword swords, some hunting bows. Oh, let's buy a hunting bow. I would rather have a bow than a sword, so then I can hit those back row enemies. So let's pick this up. I could buy it, or we could try negotiating. And you can see I can negotiate one more time today. So let's do a hard negotiation. See if we can drop this price down. So I'm going to click on this persuasion roll, which is quite difficult. I fumble over my words. I almost make it, but I failed. So she's just charging me the full price. So I'm gonna spend that because I want that. We can also sell goods. So if I exit out of here, go back to services, and go to sell. And let's say I don't need the short sword anymore. I can sell it, get 202 gold. You can also counter offer this if you want to get more gold. You can negotiate, but I've already used my counter for today. So I'm just gonna sell it for the agreed amount. Each building also contains visitors that you can go and chat with. So this got Robert. I can go and chat with him, and apparently he's got some work for me. So I can accept this job if I want to. Let's see. Ooh, Wyman. I wonder if that's the same Wyman that we know. All right, let's see if we can find those woods. We've got some, I'd like to get that quest finished up for that person who's still waiting on me. They're getting trailed by those goblins. Okay, let's explore. Natural 20. Nice. And we also got ambushed by some goblins, or we spotted some goblins. Those ones that were tracking us. It looked like they were tracking us. Let's see what they're up to. Alright, passed. Let's follow them to their lair. Alright. We found their lair. Way over here. Alright, so we'll pick a room, we'll go to sleep, and we'll pick up our exploration another day. Thank you so much for checking this out and for picking up Archmage Rises. If you haven't, it is on Steam. It's a 15% discount during launch week, so go check it out. And we hope you enjoy this video. If there's anything that you want to see, just let me know in the comments, or jump on Discord and give us a little quick message. We're always happy to hear from you, and I want to hear more about what you want to know on how to play Archmage Rises. This is just a small little taste. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.